Karthik, wonderful to see you. You've done us proud on your playing days as a cricketer, and you're doing a great job as far as the broadcasting is concerned. How are you doing, and most importantly, how are your family and you? I hope all safe and healthy.
Hi, Hrishikesh. Thanks firstly for having me. Thanks for your kind words. Yeah, everything is fine so far, so good. God's grace, cannot complain. But yeah, these are tough times, challenging times, unprecedented times. So yeah, at the moment, the family is fine.
Great to know. I'm going to start with your playing career before we get into the broadcasting. Stellar job in ODIs for India. There's a 6 for 27 against Australia, which I thought was a standout performance. 2007. You also picked up the Man of the Match award because you scored 21 in that game. Memories, please, Karthik.
Happy memories, man. Of course, playing for India is what you want to achieve at the end of the day. For me, it started in 1999. So I would actually say that getting the test cap in 99 was a big feeling for a young kid who never wanted to play the game and who wanted to be a genetic engineer, ending up representing your country and playing a test match at Wankhede against South Africa, getting your test cap and hat from Kapil Dev and Sachin Tendulkar was a big thing. Yes, 6 for 27 happened along the way, but for me, obviously, and also it happens to be a world record figure for a left arm spinner in the history of one day cricket. So yeah, it's a happy memory, but I would still put getting my test cap in '99 at a higher level is what I would say.
Which is actually a brilliant segue into the tests. That 4 for 44 at the Wankhede comes to mind, Karthik. Special day for you. You also had a 3 for 32 in the second innings, if I'm not mistaken. Anil Kumble, Harbhajan Singh taking a 5 for each. A low scoring game, but we won by 13 runs. I'd like you to recount salient features.
Look, I actually wasn't playing the game, to be very honest. I had no idea that I would be playing the game, firstly. Um, and the game before was the Nagpur Test match, which was a green seaming wicket. So when I got to play the game and getting the ball ahead of Anil in the second innings when we had to defend 103 and getting three in 2 overs, if I'm not mistaken, actually put us on a driver's seat, and that's what earned me the man of the match in that game because it was Ponting, Clark, and Martin in 2 overs. So yeah, that was the only Test match we won in that entire year. So it was a big day for many of us, and most importantly, to beat a team like Australia, just defending 103 was a big day.
You really prospered in English domestic cricket. I mean, your stint with Middlesex in 2007, your 12 wickets in the Pro 40 games must have been really special. Plus, you were part of Middlesex's 2020 winning squad in 2008. So I'd like you to talk about the county scene there.
Look, County was one place where, again, it happened by chance because I was in Zimbabwe in 2005 when I got a call from my wife saying that Mike Watkinson is trying to reach out to you. He's the director of cricket at Lancashire. And and when I spoke to him, he said, "Can you come over to England for the last 5, 6 weeks to come and play?" And I was not doing because after the one day leg of the tournament, I was not part of the Test series, so I could have gone. So that's what got me into county cricket for the first time. And while growing up, Mr. Bishan Bedi had always said that your education is never complete till you play in England. So for me, that was my foray into county cricket. And luckily for me, my first game for Lancashire, I got 10 wickets on debut against a very strong Essex side, which had Andy Flower, Grant Flower, Nasser, Ronnie Rani, Alistair Cook, Ravi Bopara, and all those guys. So, and funnily, it also happens to be the only overseas player to get a 10 wicket on debut for Lancashire, and they've had Murali Kartik and Wasim Akram and all those guys. So I think that set the tone for me. Although you're an international cricketer, till the time you don't do well in county cricket, they don't rate you, to be very honest. And it continued because I played 2 years for Lancashire and then I played 3 years for Middlesex, 3 years for Somerset, and ended up with Surrey. So 9 whole years of county cricket along with your India and uh, domestic cricket in India. I think it was good. Look, there have been different moments. I don't remember the wickets, to be very honest. So, yeah, county cricket was good. County cricket was very, very good.
Your buddy VVS Lakshman talks about the best spell he has ever seen you bowl during the Irani Cup against Mumbai in 2000. You grabbed 9 wickets in the second innings to win rest of India the game. You have happy memories of that, I'm sure. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, again, I broke a record there because I think the previous best was Ravi Shastri, if I'm not mistaken. So to get 5 and 9 in one game against a strong side like Mumbai, and also I just made my Test debut, so it was a good thing. Look, 9 wickets, and I was going to get the perfect 10 as well, very close to it. Um, how do I put it? Uh, when you play 26 years of cricket and what 20 years of around first class cricket, you end up achieving a few things, and that's how I would put it. Yeah, one of those moments where, as I always say, it was your kind of a day. Every dog has his day. I had my day.
Putting it modestly. What I loved about you is that you had the body language of a fast bowler, even though you were a spinner. Is that something you adopted as time went by, Karthik? Or was it part of your personality from your early days in school cricket or grade cricket?
I don't know, Rishi. I think when I look back at my time now, yes, I've been branded as somebody who was too aggressive on the field, and that sort of an image has actually spilled over onto my normal life as well. So people end up tagging you as, oh, he's aggressive and he's got that kind of an attitude, sort of a thing. But it was just limited to the field, is what I thought, and I don't think it was a put on. It was just a bit of, how do I put it? I've always felt that all everyone else was much better than me. I always felt inadequate as a cricketer, not insecure, but inadequate as a cricketer. I always felt that the others were much better than me. So it was a bit of a dog fight, or that's possibly the way I would G myself up for a fight, is what I would say. And possibly with that, as they call it, the yellow line fever. That's what I had. And I started off as a seamer. So I don't think there's any aggression because of that, because I had to be quick enough to be aggressive. And I was a slow seamer. So I don't think any aggression could have come by being a slow seamer. I was not going to hit anybody. I could have only been hit. So uh, I just feel that it was just my inherent fighting personality on the sports field.
That wasn't even part of my set question list. But that's quite remarkable. You started off being a seamer. When did you switch to spin and why?
I started off as a seamer for Tamil Nadu. I played under 12 and under 13 cricket, played South Zone, and got transferred to, my father got transferred to Delhi. And when I reached Delhi, my coach, Mr. MP Singh at the National Stadium, he looked at me, and I was, what, I had finished my 10th standard going into 11th, and I was 5 feet 2 inches, and not the guy you look at right now. And he looked at me and he said, Karthik, you might have been playing for Tamil Nadu, but this part of your journey, if you don't switch to spin and batting, I think you'll go nowhere because you're too puny, too thin to be bowling fast. And I think that's where I made the switch. Luckily for me, I had Vishen Bedi and Maninder Singh right there. So question of being at the right place at the right time, sort of a thing. And that was one of the reasons why I switched, because I was too puny and too thin to have bowled fast. As I said, when I started bowling fast, I couldn't have hit anybody. It was so slow that you could have had chai, pakoda, and all, and then played me.
You want to listen to Karthik through this Boxing Day test, the Border Gavaskar Trophy. It's all the action. Starts 5 a.m. Live and exclusive on Sony 6, Sony 10.1 and Sony 10.3 in Hindi. And of course, the third test that shall start the 7th of January, go up till the 11th, 5 a.m. starts again on the same set of channels on the Sony Sports Network. In 2007, I mean, it was a key year. You had a very good one-day series against Australia and India. We just spoke about a stellar bowling performance early on. You finished as the second best bowler. You took the Man of the Match award in Mumbai. On the back of such a good performance, Karthik, you were obviously looking forward to travel to Australia to play the CB series, but you weren't picked. How did you get over those disappointments? I mean, are you a spiritual person, philosophical person? Because I believe pure pragmatism and pure practicality cannot get you through stuff like that big hurdle in your life.
Yeah, you're right. Look, 99 to 2008, the time I played for India, I think I must have made 15 comebacks because I was getting dropped and coming back. And yeah, when I got dropped after that man of the match spell and then a world record spell, so to say, I was bitterly disappointed, and I would be lying through my front teeth if I said no. But that's when I was disappointed for quite a while. And that's where a very dear friend of mine said something which has stayed with me um, from that time onwards. And he looked at me and he was disappointed for me as well. And he was my schoolmate. And as I said, a very dear friend. And he looked at me and he said, Karthik, I want to ask you a few questions. And I said, go ahead. He said, do you have a good family? I said, yes. Do you have lovely friends? I said, yes. Select set of friends? I said, yes. Do you think you have a good life? I said, yes. He said, stop looking up, start looking down. And I didn't understand. I said, his name is Pratik. So I said, what do you mean? And he said, if you look up, you'll only see the guys who are playing and you'll feel, oh, why are they playing and what did I do wrong? If you look down, you will realize that there are millions and millions willing to give their left arm and left leg to be where you are. And I think that day changed it for me. There was no disgruntled feeling, no disappointment. That attitude of gratitude, which I had, and sometimes you end up missing it or losing it when things go against you. It came back to me that, look, you always felt that you were not good enough to play for India. You played for India for 9 years and you got dropped. Life is not fair. It's your karma, and which is something which you've always believed in. So take it like that, and have that attitude that the place where you are, the situation you are in, lots of people want to be there. So no point in complaining. And that's when everything changed for me.
Well, God bless Pratik, and God bless you for following up on those words. Otherwise, friends always advise, and we kind of shrug it off. I want to come back to that debut at Lancs, Karthik. After a 10 for 168 against Essex, like you said, finished at the, if I'm not mistaken, the second position behind Murali in the averages
Mm,
table. So, that was absolutely
mm.
stupendous. What happens for a young fast bowler when he makes such an impact on his first game of county cricket is, he really thinks he's on top of the world, you know. Um, uh, and one always worries saying, my God, will he go astray and things like that. Do you go back to and look at the younger Karthik and feel what you felt at that
No,
point of
look,
time?
I've always been of a very spiritual bent of mind, and I was not bowling fast then, I was bowling spin. So I don't think it changed anything in me because that is what I was used to doing. I was always wanting to be a match winner, and when I reached there, we had in our bowling lineup we had Jimmy Anderson, we had Dominic Cock, we had Sajid Mahmood, Andrew Simons, Stuart Law, guys like that. So for me, when you are the overseas player, and it was just going and living up to my own reputation, which I had set, not for anyone else. And I was just lucky that I got a 10 for on debut. Little did I realize that I had set a record in the process. And that was uh, conveyed to me later on once I achieved it. But it was always the question of living one day at a time, to be very honest. And as cricketers and as sports person, there's no point in getting too ahead of or too far ahead of yourself. You're always trying to be as good as you can be, and that's what I've always tried to achieve. And for me, uh, didn't change anything. I was just sometimes it actually works the other way around. If you've got off to a great start, then you have to live up to that reputation as well for the rest of your life or for the rest of your time with the team.
You played substantially for KKR in the IPL. Recall some moments that remain etched in your memory, Karthik?
Lots of wonderful memories. I can never forget when Lalit Modi told us during an India Pakistan game that this is what's going to happen and guys will go for so much. And nobody believed, nobody could have envisaged that kind of a day that guys are going for $1 million+ and things like that. Not that I went for that, but um, so the first game was itself a proper crackerjack game because Brendan McCullum got 158. We won by a handsome margin, and it seemed as if IPL had arrived with that kind of a start, and also to play for a high value and a fancied side like KKR with star owners and just the entourage itself was starry all the time. I think different sort of a feel, and obviously playing alongside Ricky Ponting, Brendan McCullum, Gale, who has been a long time friend, and your own teammates. I think it was just fabulous. Ajit Agarkar was there with me as well those 3 years. So we've had some great memories of playing. Yes, we didn't win too much, especially the first year and the second year. But yeah, happy memories of playing for us for a good side, which possibly underachieved massively.
Let's come to the broadcasting. You're in the broadcast team for Sony Sports Network. I mean, a really incredible lineup. There's Glenn McGrath, Nick Knight, Sanjay Manjrekar, Ajit Agarkar, Harsha. How's the BTS, like they say, behind the scenes vibe?
Look, we are all part of a bubble, as the times are such that you cannot leave and go anywhere else, and to maintain the hygiene and to maintain the sanctity so that nobody gets infected. I think we've all been part of a bubble. I was part of a bubble before this, the IPL bubble for 65 days. And we spend a lot of time together because we can't go anywhere else. We are possibly as they say, conjoined to the hips of each other, because you're in the hotel, you're in the studio, then you come back to the hotel, you meet each other at the gym, or around the pool side, the areas where we are allowed, the eating place, the breakfast area, and everyone gets along with everyone else, and it's just great because you end up sharing lots of stories, so things which you didn't know about so many people. Um, Things from England, things from Australia, your own seniors like Sanjay and Maya. Ajay Jadeja was with my senior from school. And you're constantly discussing cricket, which is great. Yes, we do it for Sony, we do it for the TV as well. But beyond that, just your understanding of the game and what people think and how they go about it. I think it's a massive eye opener. And as I said, everybody's played with or against one another, so that camaraderie is always there.
You know, broadcasters can really get under your skin in beautiful ways. I mean, as kids growing up, those voices are unmistakable. I still listen to Dan Maskell at Wimbledon or Richie Beno in a game, and I get those goosebump-inducing moments. Your favorite broadcaster of all time, and why do you look up to him or her,
I've got
Karthik?
lots of people whom I've really enjoyed. I've always been a huge fan of the way Harshabai and Alan Wilkins present a game and the kind of questions they ask and things like that. Once you get into broadcast, you understand the different requirements. As a commentator, I've always been a huge fan of Nasser Hussain. And I think the way he talks about it and understands different roles, it's just exceptional. Him from the toss, it's just that versatility which he has to the presentation. And as I said, a commentator, big fan of Ian Bishop and Simon Dool as well. They're just outstanding commentators. And who else can I think of? Ian Smith from New Zealand, again, a very good commentator. So, yeah, but I would say Nasser Hussain is my all time favorite.
Lovely. Let's get your thoughts now on the current India squad players. Do you think Shubman Gill and KL Rahul should now be in the Test squad, Karthik,
They are in the test squad. It's just that whether
in the playing
look,
11?
it's an interesting one, Rishi, because look, if you thought that KL Rahul was good enough, yes, there's a part of everyone which is going to say that he got dropped because of Test match cricket where he didn't get runs, which is the fact. And now he's back in the team because his form of late has been exceptional in white ball cricket, which is also a fact. But he has been to Australia. He's done well. You have picked Prithvi Shaw for a reason, and life is all about, you look at the great Australian side, why were they good? They were good because they made it very difficult for players to come into the team, but they also made it very difficult for them to be dropped from the team. So basically you're waiting for players to succeed, not for them to fail, and that's how you create a team. You're not going to create a team by chopping and changing. You're going to create a team, and a good team, by giving people the confidence. So I have never been a huge fan of massive changes, wholesale changes, because it doesn't send the right signal within the team and to the opposition and to everyone else. So yes, you can only pick 11. Obviously, Shami and Virat Kohli miss out. Uh, so it's going to be interesting because I don't want Riddhiman Saha to be dropped because he's an exceptional keeper. He can bat, and a bad half an hour or 40 minutes doesn't define a team. It has happened to the best teams. You can lose a game by having a bad half an hour or 45 minutes or 1 hour, whatever, of play, and that's exactly what happened in Adelaide. So Can't blame them too much. We did boss that game in the first 2 days. Just went completely awry in the last, what should I say, afternoon, third afternoon. So I'm not a massive fan of too many changes.
But you'd like to see Shubman Gill in there in that playing 11.
No. Look, it's up to the team. Look, Prithvi Shaw was picked for a reason, so I would say that you back him. That's why I'm saying that wait for people to succeed, not for them to fail.
Your thoughts on Mohammad Siraj? I mean, like you just said, Shami is out. You're reading on Sani versus Mohammad Siraj.
Look, they look like very good red ball bowlers, but Test cricket is different. Test cricket is about being able to channel that nervous energy, uh, having that consistency over 5 days. White ball cricket is very different because you bowl 4 overs or 10 overs at staggered times at different times, and you get away with it. And it's not. It's very different to red ball bowling. Red ball bowling is all about consistency, being there, thereabouts, and having the energy. Your first spell, your second spell, your third spell, all have to be incisive. So it's going to be interesting. Siraj looks like a very good bowler because he's got that wicket taking capability. Navdeep Saini again hits the deck hard. So yeah, not too much to choose between them. It's a question of what the team management thinks, whom they feel, because they're all there. They understand who's bowling better and who suits the kind of change which is required once Shami is gone. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the nod.
The wicket keeping imbroglio, I mean, you did say very briefly that you'd like to see Saha continue, but there are people who are turning around and saying, considering how Rishabh did in that warm-up game, and also, keeping an eye on the future, might be interesting to breed him in now.
Look, he's been part of the test team and he's done well, but also there have been lots of uh, the consistency factor is what is very important with Rishabh Pant. Riddhiman Shah is an outstanding glovesman. He's a very good batsman, and in fact, after the first game, I did say with Virat gone, you can put extra responsibility on Rishabh Pant because he can be a match winner. He can be the X factor. Allow him to just play as a batsman and allow Riddhiman Saha to keep.
Interesting. Would you play both Jadeja and Ashwin, or would you just play only Ashwin or Jadeja?
Look, it depends.
Thoughts?
It depends, Rishi. Again, we're all sitting here, and till the time you don't have a look at the wicket and what it is and how it might play out, given the third day, fourth day, I think you need to keep that in mind. Also, Ravindra Jadeja, the batsman, has come leaps and bounds, has come a long way because he's always a very good batsman. It's a question of consistently doing that at the test level, at the international level. So, do you want to give him the extra responsibility? Going in with five bowling options is always a good ploy, is what I've always felt. You've got more options, and he can bat, and he's an exceptional fielder. So, I don't mind having both Ravichandran Ashwin and Jadeja in the team.
Rahane's batting position, Karthik, thoughts on that?
Look, with Virat gone, I would assume and I would hope that he comes in at number 4 because Ajinkya, the player I've played against, was always an opener in first class cricket. Yes, he's doing a different job for the Indian cricket team. He's batting in the middle order, but Ajinkya, the opener, is what I've seen. So he can always bat at number 4, and the other position, Hanuma Vihari again is the top order batsman for his first class side. It's just that once you get into the Indian team, you do things. To the as per the requirement of the team. So Hanuma Vihari can bat at number 5, which Ajinkya has taken. And I would say again, I would say the same thing. Bat Rishabh Pant, even Pujara as an opener is also a great option
Yeah, those are interesting options. Pujara as an opener, Rishabh
because he's
as a
been
pure
going in
batsman.
early anyway, so he's used to it.
Well said, tongue in cheek, but well said. Have you ever been part of a Boxing Day test match at the MCG? I mean, they always talk about it being a magical atmosphere, either as a spectator or as a player, or on the bench or as a commentator. Talk about that.
Yep, 2003, 2004, I was part of the squad. I didn't play the Boxing Day Test match, but I was part of it. As you rightly said, electric atmosphere.
Um, very different from Eden Gardens at full pack or full cock, or would you say more or less the same? The roar and the enthusiasm.
I've played at Eden Gardens when you could fit in 110,000. So that kind of atmosphere is tough. But you have to remember that MCG is a huge venue. It's just huge. So you need to have very strong shoulders or very strong body to hit the ball a long way. It's a, as I said, it's a huge infrastructure. So sometimes that takes away, even if it was packed to the rafters, it takes away the roar which only an Indian ground can produce.
Correct. Completely as an aside, I mean, I loved the fact that you spoke to Natarajan in Tamil. and,
I
you're
hope
doing a
people
Hindi
didn't make fun of
commentary.
my Tamil.
No, actually, it was pretty good for a Delhi Tamil. You always think of us as Bombay Tamils, and then there are Delhi Tamils. The authentic guys are the guys who pass judgment. But it was a nice touch. I mean, you do your Hindi commentary, your English commentary, and then you're able to reach out to him in the language that he's most comfortable in. What do you think of Natarajan as a cricketer and as a person?
Look, the person, he seems very soft, and whatever I've known of him or whatever I've met him, seems like a very, very soft guy, very unassuming, down to earth, son of the soil kind of a guy. As a bowler, I think he's got great skills. We've seen that because T20 is a tough arena to perform and execute it. And even he was unfazed when he played international cricket. Imagine the kind of story from where he has come from that small place in Salem, and now taken as a net bowler, and then things open for you because some mishap happens to someone else and you get a chance to play, and you grab it with everything you've got and do well, help India win games and do exceptionally well. I think it's a great story. And I just hope and pray that he gets stronger and fitter. And also, international cricket, the pitfalls of fame, I hope that he stays away from it. That is something which happens to most young players, and coming from a small place, you can be swept by those things. So you need to be guarded against it. And hopefully he's got people around him who keep him away from those kind of enticements and stuff like that.
Karthik, what do you make of Mitchell Swepson, the new Aussie spin sensation?
I wouldn't call him a spin sensation, to be honest. He's okay. He's okay for red ball cricket. Sorry, for white ball cricket. Red ball cricket, I'm not too sure.
Let's have a couple of lines on Ashwin, Kuldeep, and Chahal. Just a few words on the three of them.
Ashwin has been exceptional. Look, he's the kind of records he has set in the process, fastest to 50, 100, 150. It's just mind blowing. And one thing which is always interesting with Ashwin is that he's always trying to remodel, reinvent, and push the bar. I think that is something which has always been nice. He's not happy with what he's got, which is, you can look at it in different ways. People might say, why break something when it's not broken? Or why change something? But he thinks differently. So you have to respect and admire that quality in Ashwin. Chahal has been good for India in white ball cricket. Wish him well in his married life as well, now that he's married. And again, an interesting story for somebody who was sitting in the benches of Mumbai, and then he's one of the lead bowlers in IPL now. It's a great story, and for India in white ball cricket, I think he's a crafty little one. And Kuldeep, I think, is somebody who needs to be given a lot of love and care, because he was your second go-to spinner in white ball cricket, and suddenly he's not getting to play. He didn't get to play in the IPL, and even now, those sporadic chances aren't helpful to anybody who's done well for you. So hopefully there are people around him who take care of that kind of the emotional quotient.
I know you said very briefly that it was just a bad half an hour or 45 minutes in Adelaide, but cricket fans are still devastated at what really happened. Was it just a question of Australia being very hungry after what happened last time and the way Pujara and the others wore them down in our first ever victory on Australian soil? Coming back hungrier, harder, or maybe our guys coming off the back of a few of us having not played too much cricket, the IPL guys coming in with playing too much cricket. Any combination of those factors, or what happened in Adelaide?
I would just say, as I always say, in cricket, it's a simple game where strange things can happen. So if they had to come hard, they would have come hard in the first innings. Yes, they bowled brilliantly, all of them, but it was just a bad half hour where everything they did uh, ended up turning right.
Okay, we're going to do some lifestyle questions before we wrap. Your favorite ground in the world would be what and why?
A couple of them, actually, three of them. Lords, because I played there for 3 years at Middlesex. I love the Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad, and I love the Sydney Cricket Ground. So all three at par.
Trinidad,
All,
that's an
all, all
that's
for
a,
all for different reasons.
yeah, Trinidad is interesting. Give me a
It's a
reason.
beautiful ground. When you sit in the dressing room, you've got those two mountains and just the atmosphere, the Trini per se, and it's just electric. Only someone who's traveled to West Indies and played there and been part of it will understand that kind of an atmosphere.
Lovely. What kind of music do you listen to? What's on your phone?
Everything, anything actually, from reggae to ghazals to Carnatic to you call it. I have everything on my iPod, not my phone.
I know you're really. I'm surprised because people have given up to the iPod and moved to the phone. So you're old school in that
Yeah, I
department.
am because I feel that you're unnecessarily blocking up a lot of storage given, and it's not as
True
if I
that.
use the phone to as an iPod. So I prefer that smaller iPod any day.
Fair enough. Um, in terms of a sport that you love playing, I know you're very passionate about golf now. Your Insta feed, your social media feed is full of it. And Caps, the great Kapil Dev gave you your test cap, and you seem to be golfing off with him, teeing off with him a lot. Any other sport that you're passionate about, or you were even, maybe not as good as cricket, but played
I
it
played
well?
TT for my school. In fact, I played alongside Chetan Babur as well, and we had some wonderful TT players with Padma Seshadri in Chennai. Um, Apart from that, I used to love tennis. I used to watch a lot of tennis, but not any longer. But golf is my game. I can spend hours on the golf course and at the range and at the practice area. You leave me there, and except for my 5 6 hours of sleep, I can spend the whole time there.
Your all-time favorite Indian cricketer and why? Your all-time favorite international cricketer and why?
Indian cricketer is a tough one for me, Rishi, because you've admired different people at different times. For me, I've always been a huge fan of Maninder Singh growing up. Everybody has been a huge fan of Kapil Paji for what he did for the country, Mr. Gavaskar. And I played alongside some of the best in the world. I played alongside Rahul for India Cements and also with India, Sachin Tendulkar, Viru, VVS Lakshman. So it's a tough one. Zahir Khan. So there are lots of them. Harbhajan Anil. So it's a very tough one, to be honest. My all-time international favorite would be Steve Waugh any day.
Because of his captaincy, his playing,
No,
why?
from the time I was growing up, that was somebody whom I always admired for his tenacity and just the dogfight which he had. And then while I was playing, huge fan of Matthew Hayden.
Your advice to young spinners, especially in this T20 age when they're getting tonked all over the place.
I think every spinner needs to work out what his game plan is, what his skill set is. And I've always believed that the art of bowling well in T20 cricket is to minimize damage. You can't bowl wicket taking deliveries because you bowl different overs at different times. So, what they need to develop is the art of bowling the right ball to the right batsman at the right time. So, you need to know what to bowl when.
Well said. Your mentor in spin bowling, you did mention Bishan Bedi and Maninder Singh ahead
Yeah.
earlier. Apart from the two of them, anybody whose advice you looked up to, especially during your days as a youngster, looking to bowl spin.
No, I think that's somewhere I would always advise young spinners to keep it simple because too many cooks can spoil the broth here. For me, Bishan Bedi and Maninder Singh said the same thing because Mani we have learned from Bishan Bedi, so you don't want to confuse yourself. Keep it simple. Stick to people whom you trust and who have seen or know your game. So um, nobody apart from them too.
So this Bishan Bedi school of bowling, which Maninder Singh is also part of, now Kartik is part of, what is the biggest ethos, principle of that school of bowling?
Firstly, you need to be a big hearted bowler to be a spinner because you are going to get tongue. And secondly, if you don't spin the ball, you are just a slow bowler. So Bishan Pedi was very particular about it. The first thing which he asked was, who's a spinner? A spinner is who spins the ball, not who just comes and rolls the ball. So for a spinner, you need to spin the ball and need to have a big ticker.
Yeah, logical question. Who is your favorite, most favorite spinner of all time and why?
Uh, oof, tough one again. Um, Tough one again, Rishi,
Name a
because I
couple.
don't
Name a
have
couple.
one particular
Yeah, name a couple
one
or
team.
a few through the generations. Yeah.
Saklan, big fan of Saklan, big fan of Shane Warne, big fan of Bhaji, Manivia, of course. As I said, I grew up idolizing him. Swan, very fond of Swan, the bowler. So quite a few spinners. Daniel Vettori and old school Phil Edmonds. So lots of guys. So it's a tough one.
A skipper whom you played under for country or for club or franchise whom you really admired and why?
The late VB Chandrasekhar, because he made me the bowler I was. I played 7 years under him for India Simmons, and he just made me the bowler I was. Because I wasn't a spinner. I was at just sorry, I was a fast bowler and I turned to spin. So playing first division cricket under him and a lot of Buchi Babu and all the other tournaments, those competitive tournaments under him when I was 16, 17, made me the bowler I am. Uh, my captain at Railways, Abhay Sharma, was a huge influence because he treated me like a match winner and he used me like a match winner. And also Mohammad Azharuddin, because I played a lot under him, the Wills Trophy and Challenger trophies and all those things. And a huge fan of Azubai, the captain, the way he handled bowlers.
And you yourself have mentored quite a few in the railways, you know. It's exemplary how you've gone back and, you know, just been around the team and helped them. It must be important to you to mentor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is something which I wanted to do. Although the last 4 5 years I could have gone somewhere else and played as a professional and made some money. I just felt that railways was the place where which gave me a chance where no one else was giving me a stage to perform. And I was the senior most left because Sanjay Bangar had gone, Yere Gaud had gone, Abhay Sharma was the coach, and he was going to move as well. So I just felt that my last few years should be spent at the place which gave me everything. And we had a few young players coming through, and you don't leave them in a lurch because you need a senior head, a senior old hand who can control them, who can guide them. And that's one of the reasons I ended up playing 2 3 years when I could have gone somewhere else.
Karthik, I really admired the way you played the game, your bowling, your attitude on the field, and I'm really enjoying your broadcasting. Thank you very much for the time you gave me. I mean, you're going into a very frenetic few days of broadcasting. It's going to be, you know, all dayers,
Getting up
eveningers,
early.
getting up early. You know, you could have easily used this day as your last rest day before the Boxing Day test, and you've given me so much of your time. God bless you,
Not at
and
all, Rishi.
thank
Look,
you.
thanks for speaking to me because at the end of the day, we do nothing. We're just sitting. I'm either reading a book or watching Netflix or one of those OTT channels or spending some time amongst ourselves. So I've not done anything extraordinary or out of the blue here. So don't thank me for that. It's great talking to you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers,
Have a good
Rishi.
one.
Cheers,
Bye.
man. Thank you.